Minnesota voters deciding so much more than just the presidential election today.
Several of our congressional races saw huge spending from outside groups. The 2nd District race is between Democrat Angie Craig and Republican Jason Lewis. This race is getting national attention because it opened with the retirement of John Klein, and there has been a lot of outside spending.
Another one of the most expensive races in the country, Minnesota's 8th congressional district. Democrat Rick Nolan facing off again against Republican challenger Stuart Mills in a district that has traded parties several times in recent years.
And the West Metro 3rd District with State Senator Terry Bonoff's challenge of Representative Eric Paulson. Along with those votes electing U.S. representatives, we will also be watching the fight for control of the Minnesota House and Senate. There's also a constitutional amendment question that would create an independent panel to set lawmaker pay in Minnesota.
Minnesota has already smashed all previous records for early voting.
More than 196 early ballots have already been cast. That's about 15% of total voters in Minnesota. Lines have been long at many early voting locations. At this one in South Minneapolis yesterday, Therese Price waited almost 3 hours to vote.
I'm excited for it to be over if it goes the way I hope that it goes. If it goes the other way, I'm a little nervous.
Minnesota has a tradition of high voter turnout, the highest in the nation during presidential election years.
Important to quickly go over some of the things voters need to know today. Polls open at 7 o'clock and close at 8 o'clock tonight. If you still aren't sure where to vote, it is super easy to look up on the Secretary of State's website. We make that easy to find at WCCO.com/links. As far as what to bring, if your voter registration is current and active, you do not need to bring identification. If you still need to register at the polling place, you can do that. Bring a driver's license, a passport, military, or any other form of ID issued by any state. College or high school IDs also work. So does tribal identification. You can even use a phone bill, TV, or internet bill for proof of address. And yes, another registered voter who can go with you to the voting place and vouch for you. Well, you can bring another person, and that works too. Finally, once you're inside, a couple of rules to follow. That you are not allowed to campaign within 100 feet of polling places. You cannot display political T-shirts, buttons, or literature in the polling place, so you'll have to cover up those items or remove them while you're inside. There is no law that prohibits taking photos or videos in the polling place to record your own voting experience. However, the Office of the Minnesota Secretary of State discourages that activity. They just want to make sure you don't take photos of other people while they are voting, or voting if that's happening in the polling place. You should know that if you are in line by the time the polling place closes at 8 o'clock, you can still vote. They can't kick you out of line, so bear that in mind. And then when you're done tonight, WCCO is the place you want to go tonight when those results come in.
And CBS News coverage of election night runs all through prime time, and we will have the teams of reporters scattered out throughout the state, so we'll be bringing you acceptance and concession speeches as we get them. Stay with WCCO for continuing coverage for all of it, along with up-to-the-minute results on WCCO